terra che egare mi vindoi troior esser tu. Boats and ho! Fucking Catalina wine mixer. Step Brothers, released in 2008 and is directed by Adam McKay, who's also behind films like Anchorman, The Legend of Ron Burgundy, Talladega Nights, The Ballad of Ricky Bobby, The Other Guys, The Big Short, and Vice. And this film is starring Will Ferrell, John C. Reilly, Richard Jenkins, Mary Steenburgen, Adam Scott, and Kathryn Hahn. Alright. Let's talk about some immature adults. Brennan and Dale are two very immature adults who are 40 years old, still living with their parents. However, their parents have fallen in love with each other, and now they are all living under the same roof. Meaning that Brennan and Dale now share a room because they are now step-brothers. But the two don't take kindly to each other, and soon the two begin a mission to annoy the crap out of each other. Basically what this movie did for me 99% of the time watching it. Now, I love myself a good comedy. I like Will Ferrell. I think he is a hilarious man. I loved Anchorman. I actually loved him when he was doing dramatic stuff too, with Stranger Than Fiction that I reviewed a couple of months ago. But this movie simply drove me crazy. And I think I have to attribute that to these characters and to who they are and their backstory. These are two 40-year-old men still living with their parents, and they're acting like they're 10 years old. See, it's these types of people that I want to walk up to and slap across the face, and then knee them in the groin, and then pick them back up and slap them across the face again. And not just the 40-year-old children, I also want to do that to their parents as well, because they're the ones who are babying and enabling this terrible, immature behavior. And yes, I know that sometimes life happens, sometimes you have to move back home with your parents. I absolutely get that. These two are a different story. They are 40 years old and have never left their parents' house and have no intention of leaving their parents' house. That's where I start getting pissed off. And I feel like all of us have that person in our lives, whether it's a friend or a family member, that is this person, this 40-year-old person. Don't you just want to slap them across the face and say, oh my god, grow up? You're a grown-ass person. Fucking act like it. Sorry, that's just my opinion, and I'm sticking to it because it was influencing a lot of my opinions about watching this movie, the majority of the time. This was right around the time when Will Ferrell was just taking off and making comedy after comedy after comedy. So we had Anchorman, we had Talladega Nights, we had Step Brothers. He also did Semi-Pro, the skating one, the Path to Glory, I think is what it was called. Basically taking any sporting event and turning it into a comedy. This was the time of that for Will Ferrell. And John C. Reilly was a part of a lot of those movies. They recently were together with Talladega Nights. So you can tell they have some great chemistry with each other and they're able to play off of each other for those comedic beats. But the trouble with this movie is that I think the script, the words that were written down on the piece of paper, were just thrown out the window. Yes, maybe they said it a few times for a couple of takes, but then the director was like, okay, now you guys do whatever you want, and then try to top each other. Constantly. That is what every single scene with these two actors felt like. It felt like, hey, one person's going to say a funny line, and then the next person is going to do something kind of similar, but try to top it. And then the next person's going to try to top it as well. And then it keeps going back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. And you start to question, okay, what is the purpose of this scene? Why are we doing this? Is it to establish character? Is it to establish motive or the reasoning, the mission, the objective of these characters for this movie? Because I'm not getting that. Maybe we'll finally get that in the last 5 seconds of the scene. And it's hard for me to get behind movies like that. You can have well-placed comedy throughout a scene, but it's playing to the ending climax. It's playing to some type of narrative with this story. It's not just comedy for comedy's sake, which is what this movie is the majority of the time. And yes, I know these are two 40-year-old people living with their parents, and they're being coddled, they're making themselves nachos, they're jerking off to exercise TV shows during the middle of the day. I get it. Doesn't mean it's not annoying for me. And then it's also annoying seeing the actors who play the parents in these movies react to their children for behaving like this. Again, I just want to take the parents and slap them across the face. You guys enable this! You start getting behind Richard Jenkins, though, later on in the movie, because he's kind of getting fed up with everything and he's trying to get them out. So I back him a little bit for that, even though he's kind of the reason why this is happening in the first place. He has a great line in here when they're getting divorced and Will Ferrell and John C. Reilly, they're crying. They're like, oh, is it us? Oh, it was because we did something. It's because we fought. Which is typically what happens when you have a child who is going through a divorce, you know, with their parents. They kind of feel like, oh, it was me. I did something wrong. You're getting divorced because of me. But I like Richard Jenkins' line here in this movie of, yep, it is 150% your guys' fault. I feel like sometimes parents want to say that, even though it's not true. Parents really want to say it and they never do. It's kind of fun to actually hear it said out loud. We get some nice cameo scenes with Adam Scott and Kathryn Hahn, who I think are just tremendous comedians. Adam Scott, I love on Parks and Rec. He is hilarious there. It's weird seeing his character on there, who's this nerdy Dungeons and Dragons type accountant. But here he's this leather jacket wearing, slick back hair, jock, big shot corporate dude. It's a little jarring seeing it, but I think it's hilarious. I think he's hilarious. He's an hilarious comedian. And Kathryn Hahn, I love it whenever she's on screen. She steals every TV shows, movies, whatever she is in, she is stealing the scene if she's in it. Like I said, for the first 99% of this movie, I'm just not digging it at all, because these characters, they just make me angry, because I know these characters exist in real life. But then we get to the final scene, the Catalina wine mixer. And it almost redeems it for me. That's where that performance was that I did in my introduction of this video came from. I have not stopped thinking about that scene and that performance, because I think it was really good and it was really funny. I traveled 50 miles to give you my seed! This film was going to get a half a Blu-ray for me, but now that just realizing that I have not stopped thinking about that final scene, because I thought it was hilarious and I think it was great, it is bumping it up in the ratings for me. And it just goes to prove that, you know, in this time that we are living, where there's coronavirus and fear of a pandemic and being infected, and then also just a tyranny from our government here in America, racial prejudices, our rights kind of being taken away for peaceful protesting. I think this film proves that what all of us need right now is just one awesome Catalina wine mixer. It fixes everything. We all need a Catalina wine mixer. I'm calling for it right now. Who out there wants to back me on getting just a global, at least a national-wide Catalina wine mixer going? Who out there wants to establish it? Because I'm too lazy to do it. I want to give this a bad review. I mean, I guess it's still not the best, but it's definitely better than what I was going to be giving it. I'm going to give Step Brothers 1.5 out of 5 Blu-rays.
No, sir, I didn't like it.
I found myself laughing a couple of times. That final scene is great and tremendous. I love it. I think it's hilarious. The rest of it, though, is freaking annoying. Yeah, 1.5 Blu-rays, I think, is the appropriate score. Alright, guys, now comes my favorite part of my videos, where I pick which movie I'm going to be watching next. Next one comes from a longtime friend of mine who has been just begging every single year for me to watch this movie, and I'm finally doing it, because I've had it for free, the digital copy for free, for so long, and just never gotten around to it. It's a movie called Demolition Man, recommended by Trevor DeVoe. Every single summer when I go over to his house around 4th of July time, he's always like, Demolition Man, Caleb, why don't you do it? I'm doing it now, Trevor. For you. I've never seen this movie. I actually have never seen Judge Dredd either, that other Stallone movie. I think it came out around the same time. I keep getting these two movies mixed up because they look very similar. At least the posters do for me. We'll check it out next time. Thank you very much, Mike, for the recommendation of Step Brothers. If any of you have recommendations of films that you want me to review out there, leave your comment below this video. Go to my Facebook page, my Instagram, or my Twitter and leave your recommendation there. If I have access to it, I will watch, review it, and give you a shout out on the channel. So guys, have you seen Step Brothers? What did you think about it? Or if you've never seen it before and you stumbled across it because of this video, then comment below, let me know what you thought about it. And as always, if you like what you see here, if you like my take on movies, then hit the subscribe button and make sure you hit that bell so you know the next time I release my next movie review. So guys, I will see you next time with my review of Demolition Man. So in the meantime, be well, be good to each other, and go watch a movie. Take care, guys.